back. This is CT over the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be discussing 90 Day Fiancé, No You Didn't. Okay, this is going to be brought to you from an urban Native American perspective, a mixed perspective, and a secular perspective. So let's dive right on in, guys. How have you guys been? Did you watch the episode last night? Okay, this was a little bit interesting. All right, so let's first start off with Bilal and I think Shida, if I'm not saying her name wrong. I think it's Shida. So anyway, so they wake up, it's the next day, and she is feeling a little bit more contrite, and she decides she wants to apologize for how she behaved. Now, I personally did not see any need for the apology, but okay, that's fine, whatever. I just feel like, him playing games and, all the trickery and stuff was just, it was so stupid. So then later on, he takes her, he says, okay, so now you're going to meet my mother today. And when she meets his mom, let me push this back a little bit. So when she meets his mom, or is on the way to meet his mom, she's driving through the neighborhood and she's seeing all these nice houses and thinking to herself, okay, this is the America that I was thinking about. And also too, not to sound like, I don't know, maybe this will sound rude to some people, but listen, I mean, I understand when people are coming from other places and they've met you, especially in their country, which was different than other people who only met online or have never had a chance to see each other in person. If you're presenting yourself as this, well-groomed, living a nice lifestyle kind of American, then of course a person is going to expect that. It doesn't mean that they only want you for that, but I mean, that's what you're presenting, therefore that's what you expect. So if she met him and he had on, like, I don't know, like athletic clothes, and he was always with a basketball in his hand, then she may expect that, he may live somewhere where there's basketball hoops, and, his lifestyle will be always going to the gym. And you know what I'm saying? Like, what you present is what a person normally would expect. And the girl, I mean, she's from the islands, and island culture is, I mean, the various island cultures. I'm not going to say all, but I have plenty of friends that were from Trinidad back in New York. I mean, it is a bit of a conservative culture, right? And kind of no nonsense. A lot of people are like that, and and she's also religious. So of course she's marrying with the intention of, oh, these are certain things, and the man is the provider. I mean, listen, whether you agree with that or not, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but that's obvious. They come from that kind, they're both from that sort of religious ilk, if you will, right? So of course she's going to expect that. Why should anyone not expect that? I mean, she is, like when she got on the phone with her mom later on. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but anyway, I just feel like, the whole debate about, what she said to him and what her expectations were. I just feel like, I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I mean, she's a grown woman. She's, 37 years old. Yes, you expect the man to have something nice and not take you to a dilapidated, looks like a trap house, right? So anyway, so she gets to the house and he reveals that, hey, this is actually, sorry, before we get there, she called her mom. That's right. So she calls her mom and gets her mom on the line. Now, over here at the NYC, and like, I'm just one of those people, I tend to observe a lot of things that probably just aren't even important. But I just noticed, like, I was looking at her mom because I was wondering what her background was. Because, listen, the islands are no different than any other country. You have people that immigrate from all different places, whatever. I didn't know if maybe she had maybe an Arab background, maybe, because I know there's like pocketfuls of like Lebanese communities in certain islands, particularly in Haiti. So I was like, okay, so what is the ethnic background? I'm really just dying to know. But anyway, side note, her mom, like when I saw her mom on camera, I was like, oh wow, interesting, because she looks like her mom, but she doesn't look like her mom. Like, she has her mom's full lips, she has her mom's skin color, but like that's about it. So I'm so curious. Please, let's find out what her dad is, and like, his background and stuff. I just find all that stuff interesting, right? Okay, excuse me. So yeah, she calls up her mom and she tells her mom, like, this is not what I was expecting. She shows, like, she takes her phone and she's like, you look at this, you see the dilapidated. She's like taking the phone and showing her like the peeled off, ceiling and stuff like that. And the mom is cracking up. And I have to say, that's not quite the reaction I expected from her, but maybe this is just the thing about her mom knows her daughter and is like, listen, you tend to get a little too excited, or sometimes your expectations are too high. That's kind of what I got from her. Like, oh, my daughter's always like that, just calm down, give him a chance to prove. And I don't know if my advice would have been the same. I would have been like, get your butt back on the first thing smoking with that paint peeling. That could be lead contaminated chips. Like, what you trying to bring her so she can get, like, some kind of neurological damage down the line. Anyway, okay, so yeah, so finally she gets off the phone with her mom. She feels better, I guess, after a conversation with her mom. And then he takes her to this meeting to see his mother, and they're driving through this nice neighborhood. What her vision is, I guess, of America. And yes, not all Americans live in fact, I would say most Americans, especially with our homelessness rates increasing so much in all these various cities, and with COVID and the moratoriums on rent and things like that, a lot of people are becoming homeless. So I'm not saying that that neighborhood is the typical neighborhood for an American, but I mean, anyway, it's what she would expect, because that's probably what she saw on television. So she gets there and she's like, oh my God, this is so nice. Like, wow, this is beautiful. I love that. Look at the throw rugs. Look at the pillows. Look at the shams. Look at the dish towel. I mean, she was like into every nut and bolt and screw. She was like, this is how I should be living. And then he reveals, oh, this is really your home, your new home. And she's happy, but at the same time, like, when she talked to her mom, did you guys catch how she said, I went ahead, she said that, I'm going to apologize just to, to make the peace. But she's not apologizing because she doesn't mean what she said. She meant every word that she said. All right. She just needs to stand in that. You know what I'm saying? If that's how you feel, let him know right away so he knows what to expect. Okay, this is my wife. She expects X, Y, and Z. I might think that that's high maintenance, but I'll do this for her because I know that's what she expects. Whatever, right? Let him know once like, before you get too comfortable there, because then he may think that you're, you know, it's just better to be honest, I think, up front. So then she's like, well, this is really great, but, like, now I have to worry about trusting him. And I'm like, bingo. And he's talking about, well, I had a plan, but it kind of backfired on me. But did you guys see, like, the morning when he woke up, like, in the very first scene, how he's wearing the shirt that says "Be Grateful"? And I was like, you son of like you play this trick on this woman, and then you tell her she needs to be grateful for what she has. So are you her parent, or are you her potential partner? I was just like completely done with this guy. I mean, he just, that has dust written all over it. Okay. All right, get out the broom, clean up in aisle 6, because we got a dusty right here on 90 Day Fiance by the name of Bilal. All right, so then he goes, once he reveals the house to her, you see how I was saying that, we should be grateful for this and that. And she's just like, kind of happy in the moment, but I know in the back of her mind, she's got to be like, well, why didn't you just show me this from the beginning? Right. And it just started the whole thing off wrong. So she will always remember her first moment in America being tricked and being put in a van that, to her, it might look like a serial killer van. Who knows, because when she said, when she referenced Sanford and Son, I was like, oh, okay, so that's an old TV show from the, well, I watched it in the early 80s. Was it like a leave over was it like repeated from the 70s? Anyway, that's an old show. So, like, if you grew up in that era, or you remember that era, sometimes vans were very scary back then. So the fact that, she's in this van and she remembers Sanford and Son, I'm like, maybe she's thinking he's going to try and chop her up. I mean, you don't know. I mean, it's her first time in the States. So anyway, yeah, that's Bilal and his nonsense. So we will see what's next. Okay, so who do we have after that? Okay, so now we have, oh goodness. All right. So we have Eve and Muhammad. So she picks him up from the airport, and it is a very genuinely warm reception when they hug in the airport, and he's saying how, and we hear this every single season with somebody from the Middle East, how it's like so weird to be in public and embracing like that. And but I thought it was like a very decent PDA, like not a too over the top kind of PDA. I think it was just right, but maybe it was still a little uncomfortable for him. But he's just like, when I took a look at Muhammad, I was like, okay. I mean, he does seem like a very nice guy. Now, we've definitely gotten some guys that are some real, whats, but, he definitely seemed like a really nice guy. But I was like, maybe, remember she was saying he's a virgin? And he's just very soft spoken. And I mean, I know different cultures have different ways of gauging what we consider to be masculine and feminine. And the United States is we're getting a little bit better with that and allowing men that are a little bit more, not so like, like this to be, it's okay if you're a little bit more, just, like more enjoy, like, looking at flowers and just more like having a gentle touch. And I think that's a really good thing, I'm just wondering with Muhammad though, like, I mean, I just like, anyway, I'm just gonna mind my business. So I'm just minding my business. So anyway, Eve seems to be very happy. And her son is away, so they get to have like, some initial time together. And I'm just, like I said, I don't doubt that he is happy to be there and that he is genuinely happy to see her. And that I think he does think I do think that he thinks that she is, a kind woman. And it exudes from her. I think Eve is just one of those women who just like wants to, I don't know, just like, live her life. And, she's a modern native woman. I mean, I can relate to Eve probably more than anybody on this particular season because, I mean, she's an urban native woman who's like still living very modern and having her cocktails with her girls and stuff like that. I mean, I really like that about her. But I don't want to see her slip into, giving up her freedom, her, like, in Native American culture, it is for you guys who do not know, if it's your first time here. So I have I have a black mom and a Native American dad, and we have multiple generations of mixing as well within that on both sides. So I just feel that as someone who's like Eve is like somebody you'd see like at a native fundraiser or something like that. It's just amazing. I'm glad that we have her on here. And I hope this turns out okay. But Muhammad, I mean, again, minding my own business. Moving on. So, all right. So now we get to Ari and Binyam. Oh my God. Do we have to have another season of Ari and Binyam? I mean, I meant to say Ari, right? It's not Ari, it's Ari, right? Ari and Binyam. I mean, I don't know. I can't with this couple. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's kind of given me just, it's like, how we have all these spin-offs with the 90 days. I feel like they're kind of one of those couples. Like we've seen them for so many seasons. It's kind of enough already. At first it seemed very interesting because it was like, wow, they're going to Africa. They're going to East Africa. She's living there. We never get to see that, right? It's just, it's like really cool. There's probably like one of the largest East African populations here in the city that I live in. And, sometimes it's interesting to see like your coworkers or your friends, like where they come from, because it's just not a country we get to see on film very often, right? So I was really fascinated the first maybe 2 seasons, but, Binyam, he's another Dusty. He's just an Ethiopian Dusty, right? I mean, Binyam he doesn't do shite, okay? I mean, he should be working. He should be helping take care of the family. All he's doing is backflips and like hanging out with buddies. He seems like he has arrested development. His sisters, I mean, they're much more mature than he is. I don't really get what she sees in him, And meanwhile, her family is funding everything. And in that case, he just needs to like be quiet. I mean, if you're not doing anything and you're causing problems and the family's taking care of everything, then you just need to zip it. The woman was willing to move to Kenya for God's sakes, just to be so he can have access to the baby. And oh, it's just a whole mess. I'm like, oh, whatever. So he meets up with his buddies. He decides to tell them, hey, I got my visa approved and I'm going to be leaving. And, so the friends are like, oh, well, you could have told us a little bit sooner. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to have a party and I'm going to reveal it at the party while everybody's happy. So then they have the party. And of course, it goes completely sideways. But we'll get back to them a little bit later. So now we have Miona and Jabri. That okay? Because I was looking to see how his mother pronounced his name. It's Jabri. Um, Hold on, guys. You know what? I'm gonna lift this camera up. 1 second. All right. Maybe that's a little too. I don't know. Still trying to figure out all these logistics. Okay, maybe that's better. Okay, maybe that's a little bit better. All right. So, okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So anyway, so yeah, he picks her up before. So usually, like you see the scene, they embrace at the airport, and then like the ride home. But before she even get into the car, they're in the parking lot, and he's whipping out her boots. And he's like, that's the new term, right, for this, right? The love bomb. He's just so over the top with his love, and he's yelling up to the sky, like, she's here, she's here. I mean, it was a little bit much. So I think after that parking lot scene, I pretty much formed my full opinion of like what I kind of see him as. He's a man child. I mean he's a very immature you know he's just like kind of living life. And so but the thing is that he because he hasn't really gone through like where he should be. I think at this point, like in terms of career and making money, he's not quite there yet. And I feel as though, however, that because he really seems to be into this girl, so if he really loves her the way that he's showing us that he loves her, there is a chance that maybe Jabri might really get on top of his game and try to do something to earn more money. Now, I don't think he's ever going to be able to earn enough to be able to satisfy her. I mean, unless he decides to like, stop the music that he's doing and go, I don't know, get himself into a community college. Maybe he already has college behind him, I don't know. But or maybe like, get some high, maybe a secondary education, or get into a really good trade or something. He can make some good money, but there may be a chance because he really does seem to like her. He just seems like he just really didn't grow up that much. So anyway, yeah, he just acts like a little kid the way he was shouting in that parking lot. And the way he's trying to get everything ready. But it does also show like his affection. He really genuinely seems to really care for her, right? So we'll see how long this lasts, because he's going to have to really come through with the finances, right? This girl, like she said, I could have stayed in Serbia if I wanted to live in the countryside. So they get to his parents' house. They meet for the first time. It seems to be like a pretty good first time meeting. And then they sit down at the table. All right. Now listen. Listen. I think that these conversations have to be had, but I do believe that they should usually happen after maybe like a good night's rest, right? You don't want to go diving right deep in. You're still fresh from the airport. You haven't even showered yet, but Anyway, that's their house. You know, parents make the rules, and mom and dad are not playing, especially mom. So, okay, side note, by the way, so the mom, now I'm very interested in her too. I want to know her background because I know Jabri says that he's biracial. So it looks like his mom is biracial, and then his dad, now that's the question mark. Was his dad, because I know that the dad on the show is his stepfather. So I just want to, I'm very curious. He has his mom's like kind of round face shape, and I love her freckles. And I kind of like how she has all that different contrast, like, with the freckles, but she has kind of like a warm toned skin color, but she has like the brown hair, but they're like in locks and then braided down. I think the mom's really cool. I just do. And I like how she's very no nonsense. So he mentioned that his mom is a therapist. So she's like, listen, we're putting down the rules for this and that, and for cooking and stuff like that. And I was like, yes, why not? And and Miona actually was more on board with it than Jabri, but Jabri just sees it like, oh mom, oh I gotta cut the grass again, more like a kind of like a spoiled brat kind of thing. But I do agree that she should have waited till the next day. I was with Jabri on that one, but the content of what she was saying was still the same either way. Like, this is not a hotel. I'm not just gonna be sitting here providing meals and stuff like that. You're grown. She's probably thinking Jabri should have been able to take care of this girl on his own to begin with. Now, the next question that I have is, so when you do spousal visas, you have to typically, not typically, as far as I know, um, you have to provide so many years worth of previous income taxes to show that make a certain salary and that you will be able to support this person, because you'll be on the hook for them whether you stay together or not. Technically, legally, they say for 10 years or so. So now, if you're unable to do that, then you can have someone be your co-signer. And we saw that with what season was it? Somebody co-signed for somebody. Oh, I can't remember off the top of my. Oh, was it? It was with Tiffany and the South African guy. Remember, she asked her dad to be the sponsor or whatever. So, but she was a makeup artist, but I guess she didn't make enough money or had enough work history. So, in that case, with Miona and Jabri, I'm wondering if his parents actually have signed, because that's what's got me thinking, like, why she's like, look, these are rules and da 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 da. This is what you guys got to do, and this is what I will take or won't take, because we've already gone to the step of co-signing and we're financially responsible. This is what I'm wondering. Allegedly, this is just my theory here, because I mean, if he does, I can't imagine he's been a musician traveling, touring for however long, and then maybe the lockdown, maybe he didn't tour for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I mean, I don't know if that's enough income. He was making enough. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a very lucrative thing singing in a group called the Black Serbs throughout, the Eastern European bloc. I have no idea. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it does not seem to be that way. Anyway, moving on. Okay. So now let's go to, okay, Emily and Kobe. Oh my God. All right. So, Emily, girlfriend just wants to, she just wants to, she just wants to get close. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's all she's been thinking about. Like, they had their relationship seemed to be very just like based off, it was more of a physical relationship than it was anything else. And then whoops, she got pregnant. Right. So, she's been stuck with the baby. I mean, not stuck, but you know what I mean? When you're a single mom, you're busy. She hasn't had time for dating and all of that stuff. And I don't know if they had an agreement that, until we see each other again, I don't know. I mean, because it just makes you wonder, because how many years has it been? So she had the baby. That baby looks to be like a good, at least like, it looks at least maybe 5-6 months old. I mean, I'm sure the baby's bigger than that. But so, let's just say a year and a half. Okay. 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years it's been since they've seen each other. So was there some kind of agreement? Because I don't believe he's been celibate for 2 years. Do you? Okay. When he left China and went back to Cameroon, I don't buy that for a moment. But anyway, so that's yeah, Emily, and so she's driving him, and she's like, well, I want to go over to a hotel so we can have our little alone time. And the look on his face was like, because he was smiling ear to ear, like, oh, I can't wait to see Coben. That's the name of the baby's name. I can't wait to see Coben. And then like his smile's kind of gone down like this, like he's like, what do you mean? Like, I want to see my kid. Now listen, I don't disagree with her plan. I don't think that's a bad plan because it's true. Once you get in with those kids, it's gonna or with your child, it is gonna be hard to find that alone time again. However, if she said that, 2 months and kind of sold it like, hey, let's spend a little time together. Like it was his whole expectation was to the plane and already disappointed that she can't bring him to the airport. He's thinking, okay, well, let me just see this baby as soon as I can, right? And I mean, he says he loves her, but I don't think he loves her like that. I really don't. I mean, we just have to see. I don't think I just like, really in love, not about all that. Because I mean, look how they met. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, not to say that they can't build over time, but I don't really think so. So anyway, let's see. Hold on, let me turn on my light. It's a very dark, dismal day here. Hold on. Okay, that's a little bit better. So, because the distance, I'm just not sure about where he's at. But I mean, he seems, I mean, I guess a little charming. I guess I can see why she's kind of into him or whatever, but I'm just not sold on this. And, he finally decides to go ahead and just like give in and, hang out with her or go to the hotel or whatever. But it did feel it did feel selfish. And I think it felt selfish because she didn't tell him before. Not selfish because she wants the time. Because I feel like, if he's waited all this time and he claims to love her, why can't he wait one more day? But if he's already got his heart set on seeing this baby, then, and I'm assuming it's his first and only child, then of course he would be heartbroken, right? He would be disappointed. So, okay. Oh, but the other thing that I wanted to mention is that did you guys notice how like she wanted him as soon as he got out of the car or as soon as he got to the car, she was like, "Okay, you want to drive?" And it's like this is like it just showed like all of her having to take care of everything and be overwhelmed. It all is like presenting itself right there. Like the man just came off of a how many hour flight? You want him to drive? Like do you know if he has a driver's license? I mean, how does that work? Like if he has an international drive? I mean, just like I don't it just seemed to me like, I think the expectation was a little bit too much, but I feel because she's been having to do everything on her own, it's normal to feel like, oh, let me just relax. Can you just take some of this off of me? Can somebody else just drive for once? Oh, can somebody else just watch his baby for once? That's kind of I think where she's at. But so I don't think it's terrible, but I just don't know if it's exactly well planned out. That wanting him to drive thing, I can understand the desire, but not you don't ask him to drive. Come on. All right. So let's see who else. All right. So yeah, we talked about Miona and the family. Okay. So yeah. So after they start talking about after Jabri's mom starts talking about the different expectations and things that they have that her and her husband have for Jabri and Miona. Jabri's really annoyed, and Miona's like she's kind of on board with it, but she doesn't like the fact that she's being questioned. But I mean, listen, I'm sure she's from a culture where people cook a little bit more often than Americans typically do. Anyway, so I don't think that her finding out that she would have to cook is such a big deal. But maybe I don't know. Maybe Jabri just kind of like avoided his mom the whole, avoided the topic about his mom. Like, hey, my mom is a little bit strict. My mom is a little bit, well, she did say that she knew that the mom was straightforward, and she said that she was nervous on the way to the house to meet the mom because she is straightforward. But I don't think that that would really scare her away. I mean, she does come from an Eastern European culture, and I mean, I'm not saying that she is or her family is. I don't want to stereotype, but I mean, listen, we cannot get out of this with certain generalizations. It's just impossible, right? Americans are known or thought to be a little bit more outgoing and friendly, and Eastern European cultures are known to be very direct and not very beat around the bush, maybe not as smiley as we are, right? I mean, what is it, that girl who was on was it 90 Day Fiance, who was with, she was dating the girl in Australia, and it was like a reunion, and she was saying something about, they were talking about like these girls that were from either Ukraine or something like that, and the girl was like, you know what, yeah, that Eastern Europe, I mean, we're cold, that's just how it is, we are cold. Was like, okay, well, I mean, that's out of her mouth, not mine, but I just feel that, I don't think his mom's demeanor should be so shocking to her. I mean, I think sometimes it's good when people are very straight up, right? Because then you just know where they stand. All right, so let's see who else we have here. Did we go over? All right, let me take a look here. Oh my God, my notes are all over the place. But did you guys watch the entire episode? Okay. Bilal. Okay, so yeah, we talked about Bilal and Kobe. All right, so let's get to this final Binyam situation. Oh my God. So he gets everybody gathered and he's like, oh, I'm gonna have like a watch party for my video. And we see I saw the video, it was like on that, kind of like a smaller screen and stuff. And it was like, oh, I didn't even really see that. I was being, I'm being shady. That's not nice. But it was a nice little spot or whatever where they had the little watch party, and everybody's like really into it and they're dancing and stuff like that. And then Biniam, so everybody's done listening to the music, and then Biniam makes his announcement that he's going to be leaving. So honey, why did he do that? Those two sisters, what are their names? I don't remember their names, but Mean and Meaner. Oh my God, they were like like, so the older one, like, she's always like just real pissed off and just like looking off into the ether. She doesn't say as much as the younger one. That's every season, right? And uh-oh. Uh-oh, did it go out? Oh no. All right, well, we're back on. I don't know what happened. Oh geez. Well, thanks for hanging in there, whoever's watching. So Biniam and his sisters, they were just, not happy about it. And then the younger sister with the blonde streaks in her hair or whatever, she starts really getting like going off. And next thing she's, yelling at Ari, and Ari's like, you know what? I didn't tell him not to tell you guys, because that was the whole thing. They were like, you don't respect us, you don't tell us. And Ari's like, well, I didn't, I'm not the one that prevented that from happening. And she's like, the sister's like, well, but you're family too. And the thing is like, yeah, she is family, but you know what? You guys do everything to make her not feel like she's part of the family. You know what I mean? Like, when she does something, you guys will insult her and be like, oh, is that just is that an American thing? Is that what Americans do? Like, that's kind of nasty. You know what I'm saying? Like, the girl, listen, that girl could have took your little nephew and headed right back to Jersey in the burbs and continue living a very wonderful life. She could be remarried to somebody right now who would be willing to take a woman and a baby because he can raise it up as his own. She did not do that. She still continued to deal with Binyam and his antics, continued to have her family pay for money. And don't tell me none of that money that Binyam gets from Ari doesn't help his sisters. I'm not even going to believe that for a second, right? I'm sure that they help out their family members. And it's a sad dynamic because they don't have their parents. And the way that the sisters treat Aria, I just feel like is just so disrespectful. And then when she took that wine and threw it in her face, I mean, what warranted that? She didn't call you out your name. She didn't steal your money. She didn't try and steal your man. I mean, there was nothing that warranted that. I mean, I just didn't even understand. So I said, listen, better Ari than me, because let me tell you something. I would have had to lay some hands on that girl. Are you serious? Like, I mean, and it wasn't like a little bit, like her whole face, her hair, everything, like she really got her good. I said, that's, that's a very cowardly, and storms off, right? Like if you're really about it, then stand there and toe to toe if you're really about it. But if all you can do is just throw a drink and walk away and talk mess into a camera, like get out of here with that. I don't know how Benyam is going to adjust in the States. I think he's going to be playing around. I don't think he's going to get his stuff together. Benyam he just doesn't have that, like, that strong work ethic, that kind of, he just doesn't have it. I don't know. I have no idea. Probably the most thing he'll be doing is shopping for hair products to make his curls look more, defined or something when he discovers Target and Walmart. I don't see him doing too much with his life, especially because her parents have been footing the bill for so much that he's going to think that he's just like in some, financial paradise and everything is going to be taken care of. He hit the jackpot because her father's a physician. She's a rich girl from Jersey, right? From an Italian and Jewish background, privileged from the suburbs. He's going to be living the life. Do you think that's going to motivate him to do anything? I don't think so. So I don't know. That's it. I think that's all. Did I discuss everybody? I think that's it, right? So we talked about Kobe and Emily and Bilal and all of that. Let's see. What is this? You're on. Okay. Yeah. So she's more happy. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about with Bilal is that Bilal was like, okay, so after he sees her reaction to the house, he goes, oh, well, she's happy to see the house, but, I mean, she's more happy to see the house than she's more happy about the house than she is about me. And I said, Bilal, he's an idiot. Some things you just can't make up. He is an actual idiot. What would make this man think that this woman, anyway, all right, so it's just, to me, he reminds me of those men that have issues with women. And men that are like that, sometimes they're like incels, or like they have mother issues, and they tend to take those things out on women. Sometimes you see like a Madonna whore complex, which is a real thing. You guys, I feel that this is just going to be, it's going to be a shite storm. And she was happy about that yoga room and everything like that, but I don't think this is going to last very long. Her bliss, we'll see if they wind up staying together or not. We'll see if they go, because they did that whole, the spiritual marriage or religious marriage, but they haven't done, the actual legal marriage. So we'll see how far this goes. How much of this can she take? Because she's no nonsense. She's already, I'm telling you, she's just like, she's a no nonsense Caribbean girl. I know a lot of girls like that, and they're very straightforward, and they will tell you about yourself. So I hope she reads him and drags him for the entire freaking season. I hope she just goes back to Trinidad, or maybe she'll find somebody while she's here. Who knows? Anyway, all right, guys. So please take care. I will see you next week. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you know when I'm going live. I'm doing lives now. The recorded videos, I'll do those maybe once in a while, but for right now, the live seems to be working a little bit more easily. If you like my sweater, you guys may want to check out Chickasaw Chat, which is it's more of Native American and crafting and beadwork and stuff like that. So I talk about different things about like knitting and knitting patterns. And I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in that, check that out. So anyway, that's it. I will see you guys next week. Please stay safe, take care, and chipi salacho.